Hello, I'm working on a Christmas stocking. As you can see, I've got the brim here and the part where you would put a name and a birth date if you want. And now I'm starting to work on the trees down here. And I wanted to show you how I wrap the yarn as I go so you don't leave long floats that can get bunched up and tangled and snagged later when you're putting things in and out of the stocking. So I have the green yarn in my right hand and the cream yarn in my left, and I'm going to knit with the green, but if I don't wrap the white yarn at all, then I end up with this very long float in the back, which I can show you. So it makes this long bar, and it's harder to keep your tension correct if you have those long floats. They can get tangled and just end up making a mess. So what I want to do instead is wrap that with the green yarn as I go. So I like to wrap after about 3 stitches. Since this green part is 5 stitches, I'm going to knit 2 and then I will wrap the white on the 3rd stitch. And the way I do that is I put the white yarn in between the needles like that, and then I knit with the green, and you can see now that the white is kind of on top of the green yarn, and I'm just going to knit the next stitch as normal, and now that stitch has been wrapped and is going to be a much shorter float on the back of my work. So I knit one more. Now I've got my 5 green stitches. I'm going to knit 3 white, and now I have a float that's 3 stitches long in the green, and that's okay. I like 3 stitches, seems like an okay length. So now I'm back to another wrap where I put that white in between my needles and knit with the green as normal. Now it's on top again, and I just knit it, and it's wrapped and secure. I like knitting with one color in one hand and the other color in the other hand because my yarn doesn't get tangled at all, where when I try to knit with 2 colors in one hand, my yarn just gets hopelessly tangled. Okay, so now I'm ready to wrap again. I put that yarn in between my needles and just knit. Okay, back to white. There's also a way to wrap the yarn that's in your right hand. So if I were doing 5 white stitches and needed to wrap the green, I can show you the way I would do that. So if this was going to be a white stitch, I'll show you on the next part. Okay, so if I were going to knit 5 white, then I would want to wrap the green, but I don't want to have to keep switching the yarns back and forth in my hands. So I could knit my 2 white, and then you take the right hand yarn, wrap it around as if you were going to knit, but just leave it there, and then I wrap the left hand yarn and I unwrap the right hand yarn and then pull the white through, and that has wrapped the green yarn just the same as if I had done it with the other hand. Okay, but I don't need to wrap that one at this point. I'm just going to keep knitting in my pattern, 3 white and 5 green, and wrap. And when you do it this way, it makes this nice wrapped, it's just nice and smooth. You don't have really long floats that can get snagged when you're trying to put stuff inside the stocking for Christmas. It just makes a really nice back. So anytime you're going to go longer than 3 or 4 stitches between colors, make sure you wrap it. And it's important to try not to wrap in the same spot every row. So if I were going to be knitting 7 green on the next row, I wouldn't want to wrap on this same stitch because sometimes that can show the wrapped yarn if you have it wrapped in a column on multiple rows. So on the next row I would maybe wrap when I get to this stitch and maybe this stitch, so I would have 2 wraps of the white in different locations. Just makes it a little nicer. Okay, so you can kind of see I've tried to stagger where I wrap. Just makes it nice and flat.